I filmed this video the next day after the last one, so we're just going to work on lunging with Dakota again with the long target. So you can see how we've improved over the last day. There, she wants to follow the target. So already she's immediately on the target part and not just on the pole. So that's great. She kind of wants to touch the pole there, but she is definitely willing to touch it and found the end there. So I'm going to reward her for that. And we're just still doing just like maybe a quarter of a circle, a few strides before I click and reinforce her. So. And then I didn't keep her attention enough. I should have asked her to follow the target, or I should have clicked and rewarded her for staying still. But then she came back a lot sooner. So she just kind of went to the rail and then came right back. So I'm going to reinforce that. I should, again, ask her to lunge here. I'm not doing a great job of like holding her attention just like last time, but she did go a lot further. So she's figuring out that going around and either trotting or cantering around the round pen is not what I want. So that's not being reinforced, and so she's not offering it anymore. So now I've just asked her to go a couple strides on the circle there. That's a lot faster. Keep her attention, and she can follow that for a few more strides. Good. Click her there, feed her. And I need to keep her attention. So here I need to either ask her to go forward again more or click her for staying still. So there, I'm click her for staying still. So that's better. Good. Clicking again for standing still. That's much better. So I'm just making whatever I'm doing with her or want to do with her more reinforcing than just going around the round pen. And that's what she thinks is most reinforcing because that's what we had been working on months ago, but now it's going to be something different. So, and that goes for anything you're working on. Like if they're offering you something, that behavior is just more reinforcing to them right now than whatever it is that you're doing. So, um, just make whatever it is that you're doing more reinforcing. So again, clicking and feeding her staying still. That looks great. Click her again here. I like that she's stretching down. She's not like pawing or looking around or like looking like she wants to be somewhere else. So that looks great. Ask her to walk on. Beautiful. I love where her ears and her head are. Perfect. And she's going a little bit further here. Click her for getting close to that target. I'm going to feed her. And then again, I need to keep her attention. And I like to step back a little bit so we have a little bit of space too, even when I'm just clicking for the standstill, because I do want her to be at the end of that target eventually. And then I'll also eventually fade out the target, and then I want her at that same distance but without the target. So that's why I want to step back and click here for her staying still or going forward. So you see me step back while she's staying still. That's why I want her to keep that distance. So click her there, and then I'll step up and feed her, and she should stay right here and wait for her food to come to her, basically. We'll go the other way. She'll look good through that turn, too. She didn't pin her ears or anything. Looks good. But yeah, she should hear the click and then stand still right here and wait for me. Click her for standing still. And we'll do a bit more lunging, and she's staying a lot more connected. This looks much better. And she's spending the target like at the end, and this looks great. So I'm not mad at all. I should have been more like faster here, like probably should have just presented the target because she took a couple steps and was kind of connected, kind of thinking about lunging, like here. Then she kind of thought maybe go to the end, and then she came back. So that's actually quite nice. So I should have presented the target to her once she came back. So I'm missing a couple opportunities here because she's thinking, oh, maybe continue to lunge, and then she's going back to the old habit of doing her stretchy trot in the round on the rail. So I missed a couple opportunities there. Yep, there, that was better. So she come back and connects with me, and then I can click her for coming back to the target. So most of these are my issues, so I just need to be paying attention to her more here. Same thing with this. I don't want this to become a behavior, so I don't want her, she leaves and trots around or does whatever and comes back. So again, I gotta be careful of that. So I need to be reinforcing when she's connected. So I'm just gonna kind of ignore this behavior here. She wants to come back. I'm not gonna click her for coming back. I'm just gonna present the target. Well, she decided maybe not gonna come back. Because I don't want to click and reward her coming back and thinking, yes, this is a behavior I want. It's just, okay, when you come back, then we can do a behavior that earns you a reinforcer. So. But she's giving less of that behavior, so a lot less than she was before. give her the target. She came back, and I'll present that and give her an opportunity to earn a reinforcement. So clicking and feeding here for standing still. I could have been a bit faster too, because she could have left there. That's better. Asking her to do things. Good. But this was a good series because the first video was a little much worse. This one's somewhat better, definitely better, but still getting that behavior. And then the next one's even better because she just leaves a little bit. But I liked the progression, and it was the same behavior we were working on, so I thought that was a great example. Obviously not perfect, but still we made progress. So you don't have to be perfect at this stuff to make progress. So there I stepped back, and then I clicked it, and then I'll reinforce for staying still. So step back. I'm also clicking while I step back for her staying there and waiting patiently. And I'll present the target, and she immediately starts going forward, so that's perfect. I'm also using my walk-on cue, which he already knows, but I want to use that under saddle as well, so I'm going to use that here too. So I will say that before I present the target. So it'll be walk on, present the target, and then that cue will become, when she hears walk on, she'll just walk forward. And then if I need the target, I can still have it too. So now she really wants to still touch it, even though I'm putting it up. She's got a decent backup, which is so much better than it has been. Which I think we work on a little bit more. We worked on in the last video or something like that, but she's gotten much better. The target was the key here for her backup, because if you saw her with her before, like I started doing a lot of positive reinforcement, I would just like wiggle the rope, like the normal negative reinforcement way of doing it, and she would just stop, and her head would be up, and her neck would be tight, and it was just a mess, and she would just stop, and nothing would happen. So it was definitely not a great way to teach her to back up. So with the target, she looks so much better. I'm going to work on some lateral flexion here, so I pick up the rein, and then I present my target, and then I will click and feed her. So Dakota already knows this from the negative reinforcement training. I'm just adding in the target, so I'm just picking up on the rein there, and then she flexes laterally, and I'm clicking while she turns her head, also dropping the rein at the same time, and then feeding. And then if she doesn't turn her head in response to my rein cue, I'm just going to present the target instead of like waiting or adding more pressure. And I don't want to ask until her head is straight, so I'm picking up, and then she's turning, I'll click and feed. So head straight, pick up on the rein, use the target, and then I'll click and feed. So I'm just trying to do a little bit of lateral flexion with the target then. So I picked up on the rein, which is a little bit hard to see because the top rail of the round pet's kind of blocking the view, but I'm picking up on the rein and then waiting just a second, and then I'll present the target if she doesn't respond to that. So I'm not going to increase the pressure, that's going to be a tactile cue of picking the rein. There she goes. Right off the rein cue. And then I'll keep her head straight. Do a bit desensitizing. I don't want every time we touch the rein, she thinks she needs to move her head. So I'm just touching the reins and then asking for something. So touch her neck here. I want her head straight before I ask her, so I'm just going to let her kind of explore, but she's not going to get any food. There, I'll pick up on the rein, and she flexes. She's still a little bit excited about like getting reinforcement while her head is turned. So we're going to work on that. That's why we're working on this a little bit on the ground. So same thing on the other side. I just picked up on that outside rein, and she flexed nicely. Just going to move her over so the camera can see. We're going to do this other side here. And she moves her shoulders over nicely in response to that target. So same thing, you can probably see a bit better here. So I'm just going to wait for her head straight, pick up with the rein, click, perfect. Yeah, that's a little bit better angle too. So desensitize a little bit, move my hand around, pick up, click, feed. Good. And she's really soft and light too. Even with the negative reinforcement, she was very soft and light. I didn't really have to do a whole lot. But that looks great. Pick up, click. I'm clicking and dropping the rein at the same time. and then feeding. Not going to reinforce that. I'm just going to wait, pick up. There, she kind of barely, she moved her head, just not as much. I probably could have given her a little bit more time to chew her reinforcement there. There, that looks great. Really soft and light. In response to the rein cue too. That looked awesome. Then I wanted to do a little bit of the same thing just from her back. So I'm gonna hop on her here and do a little bit of lateral flexion while mounted. So she's just getting a little bit excited. Lots of head turning. Because as I'm getting on, I'm clicking, and then she's like, "Where's my food at? Where's my food at?" So that's because, as you saw in the beginning, where I go back and redo her mounting stuff, like I had a good place, and then I like kind of I just drilled it a little too much, and now she has a lot more anxiety than she did originally. I could have just left it and like went on, but I don't know. I think there that was much better. So I'm trying to use the target to like get her to just relax and like turn her head, but I think I drilled it a little too much, and then she got way too excited about the food. I also needed to put down the value of the food, like lower the value of the food. I think it was too high either at the same time. So, but my plan here was to use the target to get her to turn her head, and then when her head was still, then click and feed. So she's not swinging it quite so much. So again, as I get on her, she's like, "Where's my food at? Where's my food at?" Way too much. Way too excited. Or maybe not even necessarily excited, but like worried about it. That was much better. Or like anxious about when the food's going to come, how she's going to get it. I think she's uncomfortable with me sitting on her bareback, so I think there's a lot going into this. But I just wanted to show some of the parts where that didn't look as good, and then you can see later on how it looks. Because she was very inconsistent. Like you can see in the first couple videos, she was good and she looked good, and then I would continue to like build up to riding, and I think like the inconsistency was because there was some pain with me riding her bareback. I think that was probably the biggest reason, and then I made it worse by like withholding the food and lots of other stuff. But this is just something we were working on at the time.